I read your tweet where your mom played Valorant with you.
Because सबसे ज़्यादा तो audio का tension है.
लाइटिंग वाइटिंग ठीक है क्या?
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Unengineers podcast. We have another guest with us here. His name is Neil Agarwal. He's the founder of HalogenOS. I have no clue how he managed to land a guest this
My
week.
God, Advait,
But,
this is so
yeah.
rare. So what the hell? Advait has not prepared
They
for
got
his
references
exams
to
as
me.
much as he prepared for this introduction of Neil.
Yup. मैं 2 हफ्ते से सोच रहा हूँ because this podcast is the most delayed podcast we have had. We just couldn't find a matching time.
I'll tell you guys how I got in touch with Neil, how we got in touch with Neil basically. So we have a very active Twitter. Me and Advait personally, हमारा Unengineered का नहीं accounts, we can't handle that many at this point. So one of our friends, he tagged us in a tweet that was related to some co-founding or building a product or something like that. And then वो बंदे के mutuals में Neil था, ठीक है? And then Neil is asking कि what are they building? So me and Advait discuss what to reply because this guy is legit. Okay, this guy is legit. Who's asking me? He's not just anybody. So we're like, भाई क्या reply देते इसको? And then we nicely crafted a reply, and we told him about the everything app in one tweet. And he's like, okay, I'll buy from you. And I'm like, thank you, Neil. And then,
You're so nice.
Yeah, you're so nice.
He's our first customer.
We have a target market of 1 guys for sure, 100%. 100%.
I'll buy.
Yes. So, and then a week later, I slide into Neil's DMs and I ask him to be on our podcast. And then 1 month later, here we are, guys.
God, man.
I'm not even kidding. I think it's been
Atik hasn't been on Neil's spaces before. Neil does spaces at 2 a.m. So if you guys are
Dude, Neil's spaces
up at 2 a.m., you can
Neil's
just join
spaces
them.
are actually, like the one time I joined, I was very sleepy. I was gonna go to sleep, but then these guys were very funny. So I guess it was worth it. It was worth waking up late the next day. But yes, he does Twitter spaces. He's very active on Twitter. You should.
I'm just gonna go back through years, like
Context
4 or 5 years,
है.
and I
नील के बारे में context set हो रहा है.
God, it's not. हाँ ठीक है चल नील के बारे में because he was the founder, but I remember me flashing ROMs and one of them being HalogenOS, which Neil is the founder of, if I'm not wrong. And basically, it was my question to you is how did you get into the ROM building wala space? Because I once read how to build a ROM and ये सब because I wanted some very specific features, so I don't think किसी को भी चाहिए था and stuff. But the tutorial, the first thing that popped up XDA पे, it was so complicated कि मैंने बोला I can probably live without that feature, ठीक है? So हाँ, just tell our audience की how did you get
Advait,
into
can you admit that feature to us? What was the very specific feature you wanted?
तो मैं चलते चलते फोन यूज कर रहा था ना, तो I needed ऐसा something translucent to be on the screen and camera से वो तो I don't hit someone or ये. That was
That's
a very
fair,
specific feature.
Dude.
It used to be there at that point.
Okay, fair enough.
But go ahead, tell us.
Okay, so like I had this device called like Samsung Galaxy Grand. पहले रहता था that. So I just used to like keep exploring on XDA and stuff about ROMs and kernels. So I wanted to explore what more can I do with it. So I flashed some ROMs. Cyanogen mode was primary, like our main ROM at that time. So we used that a lot. There was this developer from Indonesia or somewhere on XDA, and like I asked him like, how do you do this? Like, what do you work? What do you do? And everything like that. And slowly I got into the scene. I started talking to like these developers who used to make like great projects. So I was like actually 14 or 15 at that time. I didn't know shit about it. That time I didn't know shit.
Obviously.
You don't know it now also, so I don't know what he is admitting to say at that time. I didn't know it.
Yeah. So yeah, that time Samsung Galaxy Grand ke liye to I didn't do anything. What happened was that phone died slowly, and I had to go somewhere, and for that event or occasion I had to take a new phone. and सस्ता लेना था, so I had a budget of 5K at that time, so I took this phone, Samsung Galaxy, some
J5 or
Samsung
something.
Star.
J5.
No,
What's
it,
something
it
Oh my
JI?
god, that one.
Star
Holy
Star
hell.
Star Samsung
it's
Star
These are
something.
actually काफी old है.
Yeah.
इतना, yeah. So वो लिया, it had Android, it didn't have a developer community, कोई कुछ था नहीं. So I was like कि भाई, I want to use my apps, मतलब I want to use Greenify, I want to use like Viper for Android, I want to like
Yeah.
use the night shift and all of that. So literally root है नहीं, तो I need to like do something about it, and I started like exploring कि कैसे कर सकता हूँ. They actually for ROM development you don't have a lot of documentation also. You
Exactly.
you have to literally talk to people and like figure out
Partly.
and
Is
there
it
are
because-
billion
is it
errors.
Because there's that small of a community, or it's that complex that nobody wants to get into it, and the people who get into it,
It's
they don't want to get into the
too much of an effort. It's too much of an effort, and it's not at all documented because every ROM is different, and like you'll find good documentation for like cyanogen mode, like at that
Because it
time
was
thoda
open.
bahut tha, so yeah, but for the others
But-
nothing.
To pause you right there, can you explain to the listeners what exactly a ROM is?
Okay, so Android, as we all know, is like open source. You can take the code of Android and you can build on top of that.
Wait.
So-
So you're telling me I can
Yeah.
take Android 10's source code? Oh,
Yeah.
really? I
You
didn't
can
know
like
Android was
any
open
version.
Like Google वाला version नहीं, Android is open source. Google adds stuff on top of it,
Obviously.
obviously.
Yeah.
So,
Android, the full form like AOSP is Android open
Open
source
source
project.
platform.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know this. What the hell? I thought Google was proprietary or something. Damn.
You know, Android is very open, so you can literally take the source code, you can add stuff, you can build your own
Right.
features, and you can just like an app. So you improve performance, you improve the battery life and all of that, and you like do whatever you want to with the ROM. You can play around, you can improve the UI or add
So I
performance
guess that's
features
what
and
they
stuff.
mean when they say that this phone has same MIUI on top of Android. And then
So yeah, MIUI is
MIUI
a
is the ROM.
correct.
Yeah.
Oh, MIUI is the ROM. Holy hell.
Ah.
And then the version that Google releases, that is called stock Android nowadays.
Yeah. So
Stock-
Android
yeah.
open source program जो है,
Hmm.
there is this. Then Google adds its apps and ये सब. So
Correct.
if you flash an AOSP ROM ना, you won't get any Google apps. उसके लिए तेरे को G apps करके एक पैकेज आता है, वो फ्लैश करना
Yes.
पड़ता था उसके साथ.
Then what is stock Android? Is it the one which comes without
Stock
this?
Android, what they say is the Google वाला version because no one actually uses the AOSP वाला
Correct.
version.
कुछ है नहीं उसमें. Fair enough.
Yeah, AOSP is like bare
Bare
bones.
bones, yeah.
Then you have Google ka layer, G apps, like Google Play services,
Right.
Google Play, literally maps,
Right.
वगैरह.
Like you interact with Google almost every level पे because the stuff that is needed to make an app is actually provided by Google.
By Google.
So for example, normal AOSP, I don't think you can use Ola or Uber because that uses Google Maps API and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
right.
there is a lot that Google does. It's not like they're not doing anything. But okay, then
Continue.
you talk to the community and
So for this, I had to learn everything. I started by like पहले तो Windows वगैरह use करता था मैं, like I was a noob, and I had used Linux when I was like in 5th or something. ऐसे time pass के लिए there was this Wi-Fi hack करने का scene
Oh
था
my
तभी,
God, भाई
तो
बचपन
like
से कर रहा है सब.
yeah.
and you're still 14 by the way. When you're
yeah,
doing
yeah,
this.
yeah. I wanted to like get Wi-Fi passwords, and I installed Kali Linux at that time, and that was my intro to Linux actually.
What the hell?
So
Nice.
for this Android ROM thing, everyone used Ubuntu or
Yeah.
like Ubuntu was the main thing right then. So वो install किया. I didn't know much about it. It had a UI, so I used the UI for a bit and like Android is it's based on Linux, right?
Yeah.
So you need to know how to use a terminal. You need to know all of those commands, and slowly I started getting into that. Like started using Linux a lot, and धीरे धीरे I like the process of building like so I'll start from the basics. So to root your phone, you need to install a custom recovery.
Yeah.
A recovery is a partition on your Android phone which will start up like a bootload. It's
Fail
too
safe. It's like a
complicated for
fail
a
safe. कुछ गलत हो गया तो the
Not-
phone will start from that
हाँ,
point on.
start from that. Yeah, so from the recovery you can like flash stuff on your device. Like you can modify your system. You
Right.
can
So that's what flashing
like
means.
flash a kernel.
Modifying
Yeah,
the
that's what
operating system.
modifying your OS. Yeah. So from basically from the recovery you can flash an OS.
Yeah.
So you have to compile a recovery first, which is the starting point for your recovery banaya. Like I had a few friends on Facebook. I used to run a community for the food. And slowly it got famous and 5,000 लोग आ गए ऐसे ही. Like a
He
lot
says
of
it so
people.
casually, 5,000 लोग आ गए ऐसे ही.
So Facebook groups are like that. Otherwise, we need to get on.
Yeah, Facebook group. Back in the days, there was like I wasn't active on Twitter and stuff. So ऐसे ही people were like using my recovery and it worked and stuff. So root ho gaya phone and I could use all of my apps. And it was like a kick. Like if I can do this, like let's explore more. Let's like remove all of the stock bloatware that Samsung had and stuff. Kachra nikalo and like make
These are TouchWiz times. This is not One UI or something.
Yeah,
TouchWiz times.
So worst
TouchWiz
UI ever, dude. And you this came with like 42,000 rupee phone. S3 में था वो. I'm like, are you
S3 was insane.
kidding me, boy?
Yeah. S3 was insane, by the way. Like, TouchWiz, वो time था.
S3 was huge.
Yeah, so I started like building a small ROM project called the Res ROM. Like, as my alias everywhere online is Regal Streak, so RES. Why not? Go for it. So I made that. I had removed all like kachra from the Samsung wala scene, and that ROM में थोड़ा बहुत kernel modification भी किया था, so it was kind of faster than the usual TouchWiz wala Samsung ROM. So people liked it and they kept asking me like, are you still making updates for it and stuff? So that's how I got into ROM development. The Res ROM got me into making ROMs for the community.
The Res ROM could work on any Android OS, right?
No, only for the Samsung Star.
That's the thing.
That specific. Yeah,
right.
Samsung Galaxy
this is with every ROM. So if you want a ROM for your phone, someone will have to actually change stuff in that code so that it specifically works on your phone.
No wonder, dude.
Want to download a ROM, right? So even CyanogenMod and Resurrection Remix, like I remember watching Resurrection Remix. So someone, like there should be a community for your phone. So that is why buying a popular phone was more useful than buying a thodu more expensive phone, because it will last longer because the community is there. I remember buying an MI A1 and the community behind it was so strong. Like you could find anything for that phone. They fucking managed to make NASA software run on that phone somehow. Like if they had to.
Because Android 1 also.
It was Android 1 also. This is the best of both.
Bro, Neil का दिमाग देख रहे हो? Neil gets this very small, cheap phone and he's like, इसका community नहीं है, क्या करूँ? चलो मैं ही बना देता हूँ.
Let's just make it.
नहीं बना, मस्त था. But go on.
That is the best way to actually learn something. You can you stop yourself from getting all the juice from others and then you build onto it.
That's great. But okay, so what's the ROM scene now? Because I think the ROM scene is pretty dead as of now. Or am I wrong?
Good. So what happened was, I'll tell you about what I did. So after the Res ROM वगैरह, I got a OnePlus 2. तभी का hype समझ के, wasn't a very good device. It used to heat up a lot and stuff. But as it is OnePlus, you expected like it to have a scene, developer scene and stuff. So I was very active in the OnePlus forums and like I've actually talked to Carl Pai also, like back in the day. He was in one of our
now he's 16 and he has talked to Carl Pai.
17, something like that. Yeah, but
there is
तो वो सब होता था. तो तभी I used to maintain like I was one of the early people to get into the scene for the OnePlus 2. तो 3-4 ROM ऐसे ही like people like that are called build bots. They don't maintain their ROMs and they just compile.
Compile.
So I was one of them at the
So
time.
like you build and then you put
मतलब
it into the
कर-
into the world.
हाँ, into XDA का forum एक बनाया, मतलब thread बनाया and just put it out. Don't maintain it often. You will get your clout and stuff. So I did that for a while and slowly like started managing. तभी का Resurrection remix was very famous. So I managed
That ROM
that
was
for
crazy. If there was something in Android, you could change it in that ROM. Like
सब ऐसा भर दिया है उसमें
हाँ,
feature.
and
सब जो
the
भी
worst part is they have not thought about feature overlap. So feature overlap is a concept that you have to worry about. Ki one feature doesn't coincide with the other
Correct.
feature. For example, if you want time in seconds and so the time wala box expands, but you also want some text over there. Now there is not enough space to put both of them. So they just clash and they did not think that through. I think कि
Yeah,
Oh my God.
उनको बस डालना था.
कुछ भी हो रहा था. तो OnePlus 2 के लिए I'm managing Resurrection Remix and some feud happened over there. उसका जो maintainer था, I was maintaining and without the ROM people founders telling me they changed the maintainer of the ROM. So I was like, I started managing my own variant by adding features and stuff, Regal Streaks, Resurrection Remix, ऐसा कुछ. So तभी I realized कि like वही the feature overlap and बहुत सारा scene भरा पड़ा है इसमें and it's not very battery efficient for OnePlus 2 and stuff because
And, for any phone, one thing I don't think like that ROM just ate through battery, dude. I remember I used to be in class, so I would just shut down my phone so that it would last the entire class session. तो lecture के बाद I would turn it
तूने
on.
अपने Mi A1 में डाला Resurrection.
नहीं, I think this was my Moto G.
Oh my
Moto G
God.
Play, I think. Moto G
Oh,
Play.
holy
उसके
hell.
लिए था. I was just glad to find something for that phone because Motorola did not do a good job at updating.
Motorola was very bad at software.
So you actually made that. You actually added a lot of features. But how did you guys communicate? Ki every person like maintaining every phone device had to implement that feature somehow, right?
So we used to have everything on Telegram. अपना पूरा community was working on Telegram groups and अपना XDA.
Okay.
You used to get your Telegram ID from there and then फटाफट से communicate with
So
people.
that met you when you were 17, man. This is too late now.
Yeah. That was good then. So like I realized कि ये मतलब battery scene हो रहा है and stuff. So I was like, I wanted to. Also, there was this thing called CAF, which is Code Aurora Forums, which they make ROMs specifically for our Snapdragon processors.
So these are
Like
the CAF based ROMs, right?
Yes.
That Halogen is based on.
Yeah. So I wanted to make one of that. I had that idea in mind for a while and slowly gathered a community on Telegram and like I started like making very minimal and no bloatware builds and actually it had a good effect on battery life and stuff. So people started liking it, like people who wanted battery life. So वैसे ही I gathered like my teammates also are from Germany and like Europe mainly. So my co-founders are also from there. So like there's this guy like Simao. He's an insane developer. Like मेरे से भी आगे है. So if
he started
ever
when he
you
was
could
5, I guess.
not that, but he's an insane developer. You should have actually called him also. But
Give us a
I think,
number.
come on, I think next podcast we have to get that guy. Like, how do we up this guy?
I gotta get his Twitter now.
So XDevs23 probably. Yeah, follow him. Sure.
But okay, so you developed HalogenOS with that.
Yeah, we made and we maintained it for a while. Like, and like 2-3 साल चला, a lot of ports happened. Like Redmi Note 3 Pro time पे for RN4 के लिए भी बना. A lot of OnePlus devices, OnePlus 3, 3T and 5T also. I had the 5T next. So that scene happened and then I was doing this when I was in 12 first year though. And when I was in second year, like first year के end में I realized it doesn't have a lot of like money making potential.
I was
if
going to get to the money part, I'm like, क्या हो रहा है इधर?
These guys did it for free. That's the part that
Open
Yeah.
source.
fascinated me हमेशा कि
Insane, dude. These guys are doing it
how
for nothing.
how is a community this big doing it for free? So it wasn't completely free. They were doing it because they had their phones too and they wanted those features. So most of the
Yeah.
maintainers themselves had that phone. I
Correct.
think, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So that was
About the
part
money
of it.
part, like we used to get donations too. So
Mhm.
we had this donor who, like some guy from NL, who used to give us like a large, like 64 GB RAM wala server दे रखा था, so we could have like
Nice.
we used to use it as a CI server for building
Right,
builds.
right.
Because that is the part which is the most time consuming part, Android ROM
Yeah,
development.
yeah.
So okay,
Dude, my
I remember.
first build
Uh-huh.
took like 12-13 hours
Uh-huh.
on my Pentium 4 back in the
No, so
Pentium D. Yeah.
So, if I'm not wrong, man, I read this a very long time ago when I wanted to get into it. But you guys have a central server where you just do builds on it because it would cache stuff in there and then builds would go faster there. So not
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
has to do the build on their device, right?
True. That happens.
So,
Yeah.
that was crazy, dude. When I read that, I'm like, wow. Like it's that big a problem. It's just easier taking a server and doing everything on it.
Yeah, that's true, man. Server pay, it used to, like, one build used to go by in 30 minutes.
Oh, so that reduced it drastically. Okay, talking about the scene now, current state of Android, what do you think? I mean, I think it's pretty dead because I wouldn't root my phone even if it doesn't get software updates because there's stuff like UPI, credit card details, and debit card, banking, and everything happening.
Yeah, that's-
Especially India ka phones, right? We have the UPI.
Yeah. So what happened for that?
Mhm.
Google introduced some things called, what the name, dude? I've been off Android for a while because I've been using iOS. So there's this thing called Greenify you can use to get around to that. It hides a lot of stuff for the banking apps and stuff. It hides your root basically.
Acha,
So-
safety net.
Safety net, yeah. My bad. Sorry for all Android
It's
people.
completely fine. I just remember it because I know that trauma where so Snapchat would check for this. Okay, Snapchat would
Yeah.
check for a root access, and if you had root access, right, Snapchat wouldn't show you an error. It would just not log in.
Login,
Huh.
not login.
So I remember, Greedify was just for battery. I think the Super SEO had that option where you could turn off the safety net or something, and then Snapchat would let you log in. So तभी तो मेरे
Yeah.
पास कार्ड वगैरह कुछ नहीं था, बैंकिंग एप्स कभी मेरे पास थे नहीं. But I think banking
Snapchat
apps
चलता
can have Snapchat. I still use Snapchat. I get the pleasure. But
So, interesting thing about Greenify, the founder, the project manager for that is John Woo. He started working for Apple last year.
oh,
He like
switched boards.
he security के लिए, मतलब security professional there. And this year he's working for Google. Like he was an open source guy and he started working. He was interning at Apple.
Nice.
Like he's probably अपने से 1-2 साल बड़ा होगा.
Nice.
So now it's like a clash between Google where they are trying to fix Magisk and Magisk founder working for Google.
Oh, acha.
That's how.
So that guy just
Conflict of-
defected, I guess. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure Magic's people don't want Google to figure out कि ये कैसे होगा. But
नहीं, but like really nice guy. Check out his Twitter, like Top John Woo.
अभी बस we have a shared document which we're going through, and I think he's just adding Twitter names now. We xdev23. But so that's cool. I mean, you have the actual insight into the space that I always wanted to get. I quit that ROM development while I sapna jaldi hi because I'm like, okay, this is kind of too much, and I was kind of new to coding tabhi to. But that's pretty great. But what are you working on these days? Like some new
So that thing I told you about the money part, I realized in late first part it was like not a money making business. I had to do something about my career. So I started getting into web development and stuff. I used to make Android apps before, but tabhi itna, like my laptop wasn't very strong enough to handle Android Studio and build them.
I don't know if you've seen the memes, but we just put a quick year of Android Studio memes of Android Studio and people just garmi wala ye.
A lot of people, yeah.
Uh,
A lot of people can't run Android Studio even today. So. Except Android. What the hell?
So I learned Vue.js, which is a JS framework
Acha,
for making web
team
apps
Vue kya?
in second year. No, dude, I'm Team React.
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
Vue, I started with Vue because
Acha,
it was
okay.
easier to get into. Yeah. So slowly वो सब सीखा. I made some छोटे-मोटे projects and then hackathons happened in second year.
हाँ.
So every weekend we were like me and a couple of other friends of mine, we were at like random hackathons. They say like चलो कुछ काम नहीं है, let's go to hackathon. Let's eat their free food and build stuff.
हाँ, dude,
So-
this guy lived my dreams. मेरा तो coronavirus में सब चला गया, but हाँ.
Every junior is telling me that because they got like pandemic हो गया, right? So
Dude,
everything stopped.
online hackathons aren't it? Trust me, I've been to a couple.
I'm gonna change your mind. We are hosting Hackout, our head out hackathon next
Nice.
month.
Let's go, I guess.
No, very nice. Good job.
But okay, you started with Vue, and so there are some projects with Web3. That is when you got into Web3, or was it more recent?
Oh, okay. So I actually through okay. So the first hackathon I went to was this Zinfin blockchain का कोई तो sponsored hackathon था at some random
When was
college at Mumbai. Second year, 3 years
Oh,
ago.
okay.
Okay, so it's pretty
Yeah.
recent. Huh?
So मेरे को तो कुछ नहीं आता था Solidity. I was a front end guy तब Vue वाला. My great friends Somesh Kohli and Aryan and Anirudh, they learned a little
What are the Twitter
bit of
bios?
Solidity.
I'm kidding.
They're not very active on Twitter, but मिल जाए. So yeah, so they learned Solidity थोड़ा बहुत, and मर के we made this thing called SafeMed, where you can store like your digital records, medical records, and on the blockchain. That's literally every first hackathon blockchain project ever. So but we came like in the top 5 of their hackathon, and ऐसा like it was a good thing कि चलो कुछ तो मिला ऐसा. Yeah, sleepless night होके कुछ तो we got out of it.
Hackathons, that's the first thing that you give up.
That-
Hackathon.
yeah,
Like, you sleep, I mean,
That's the first thing you
you
get.
keep sleep
Sleep.
outside the door.
Yeah. So then we started going to smaller hackathons as well. थोड़े बड़े hackathons के लिए भी गए, IIT बॉम्बे वगैरह. We learned a lot of things over there. And I slowly started getting into React because I wanted to build this thing called Perfest, which is like which was used at our RIT ka Tech Fest. So it got 5K users around in like
Is that
2-3
an
days
app?
because of
I remember
Yeah.
reading about it on his GitHub. I just don't. I went through all your projects. I'm sorry, I sound like a creep, but
Full
Oh, that's
gross
good.
talker.
it was just
Star-
sharing
star them,
files,
star
right?
them.
If I'm not sharing files or
No.
something.
Perfest was like a ticket management thing.
Acha,
So
okay.
it was like both, like we used React Native Web, so it was like one code base and you could compile for Android, iOS and your web
Oh,
AWA भी बन जाता था that. And फिर उसके बाद like hackathons, I was at Inout, which is India's biggest hackathon, like India's biggest community hackathon in 2019, and there's where I learned about Head Out through one of my friends, and I DM'd like our ex-engineering manager Akash Goyal, and like he was like very happy like you could like intern with us and stuff. So like I interned there. I was in their Bangalore office for 2 months, and
Hell yeah.
2020 के start में जाना था.
Hell
Okay, so you
Yeah.
Bangalore,
moved there for
let's
2
go. 3 cheers for Bangalore.
Yeah. So yeah, I joined there and like I've been working there ever since.
Okay, so this is your third year college. You went to Bangalore.
Third year Bangalore.
That you are actually living my dream. I'm kind of jealous.
Are you exactly my name?
I am 23 as of
Okay.
31st August.
Right. Good. That is okay. Fine. I'm 7. I'm 22 as of 7 July. So exactly 1 year. Okay.
Exactly
Fine.
1 year.
Okay. Fine. Okay.
Like, I still have 1 year to go to Bangalore.
Exactly. I'll go to Bangalore, guys. Don't worry.
Like, actually, honestly speaking, I want to move to Bangalore too now. Like, after I read the Flipkart book recently, I'm like, Bangalore is where is that? So,
You need to, if you are in the startup
Startup
thing,
scene,
you need
yeah.
It's
to
India's Silicon Valley.
one
guys.
second. Yeah.
But
Totally.
what do you do at Headout as of now? What's your position?
Okay, so I am a front-end engineer over there.
Mhm.
I work in both the web and app teams. So I'm currently working on like the same thing I talked about, like uh, having a singular code base for all of your platforms.
Huh.
So we are using React Native Web for our web code base,
Right.
Android and
You
iOS.
mentioned this in the call,
So
right?
yeah. So like getting the initial architecture for that ready and stuff.
But
Working
what
on
is
that.
Headout is a product company or is it a B2B or something?
Yeah, Headout is a travel tech portal where you can like say if you are in Dubai and you want to get tickets for Burj Khalifa and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So we facilitate that
Oh.
easily
Holy
and
hell, that's gotta be
say
some
if-
insane level of, I don't know, tying up with people, getting permissions.
yeah, we have a amazing
Oh my
team to like
God.
that's insane.
That's insane.
So
Plus, you guys, I
yeah.
just realized that Headout is a fully Indian company, right?
No, so the founders actually started in NYC. They got funded over there and they came back over. Yeah,
The- But the founder is Indian, right?
yeah, Varun Khan. Yeah,
हाँ.
ठीक है. The founder Indian.
तो पूरा
I got
कंपनी
confused
इंडियन है
for a
फाउंडर
second.
इंडियन है तो
he
पूरा
studied outside.
But yeah, they got funded in NYC. That's right. That's why they have NYC
Yeah.
का explore options right now on there.
Mhm.
Mumbai कब आ रहा है? Bangalore कब आ रहा है? नहीं मारा.
Tiny road, but I don't think आएगा अभी. Like,
Yeah, but with this,
Global.
it's more operations related, right? So you have to go to these tourist places and tie up with them. Like developing the app is the least of your concerns, I think, as of
yeah,
now.
yeah. That
Exactly,
operations is
exactly.
a very. We have category managers. We have operations. We have so much.
Insane.
Like the team is like 130 people around.
Dude, if you
130
need
people.
somebody to go to all these locations and talk to local businesses, I'm your guy. I'm telling you, I'm your guy.
Sorted.
But that would be cool, right? You go to Burj Khalifa and then you ask for.
We have a lot of like supply partners that manage all of that.
Huh.
So we've tied up with multiple. Like it, the product is like insane because imagine you can't speak Spanish, but you want to book an experience from the government website and you are in Spain and you can't do that. So we simplify that process.
Yeah, that's actually
When I
cool
heard
because-
of, when I saw what it was, I could instantly think of 2000 applications in my head and like situations where I would need this app, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
like
I am very awkward
Abhi
talking to people in new places, alright? And I don't know if you know this, unless you talk to people, you don't know where you're going. So, like, I would love to use it.
is it released yet?
Yeah, it's like we are a EBITDA profitable firm. Like it's
Yes.
Oh,
doing
you are
massive volume.
profitable. That.
You gotta be kidding me, holy hell. Nice.
The unicorn club is getting too crowded now. Now profitable is the new unicorn
Soon,
thing.
Unicorn also soon. Are we already? Are we?
Well, I somehow I managed to sniff through your entire GitHub and Headout के बारे में कुछ नहीं है मेरे notes में. It's all.
It's not open source.
हाँ, I know. It's not open source. I just did not figure out कि he works out. अभी कहीं तो काम कर रहा होगा. So I just couldn't do that. But okay, your GitHub has Epic Games and stuff. Did you work at Epic Games too?
No, dude, that's just some. I used to, I have made some games before, so I wanted to use apna
Unreal Engine.
Unreal, yeah. So for that,
अच्छा, okay.
no, I didn't work.
Oh, okay. So okay, they let you put that logo on your GitHub even though you haven't worked in the company.
I am just added to the organization because of the what was GitHub education pack or something.
Oh, okay.
And you need to connect your GitHub. There's some scene, I don't know. I forgot it.
I think Unreal Engine is kind of open source, but you have to register through them. So then they add you to the project or something like that. Okay, so I have one question. Since you're a big organization, you're building an app that should be building multiple apps like iOS, Android, web ke liye through one code base. Any particular reason you did not take Flutter?
Because our existing code base is already in React, and React interacts, the JS code can be reused very well with React Native. So that's a major reason.
Okay, so
like
but did you
Flutter,
consider?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We did, but like all of what our goal was that all of our existing front-end engineers already know React, and it's
Huh.
very, very easy to get accustomed to React Native. So
Mhm.
once you have that on React Native, the apps running on React
Uh-huh.
Native, you can get your front-end engineers like web engineers working for your apps also,
Exactly.
like, if you want them to like contribute. That's
Mhm.
that's sweet
Because
to have.
we work primarily in Flutter. Like our entire tech, it is surrounded around Flutter. Backend it's completely different. And for
Yeah.
our web, also we are considering, instead of hiring for React developers, we're just considering using our Flutter team. The problem with Flutter web is it's very bad at performance. Google is improving in that. But I've always wanted to ask someone experienced this question. And
About Flutter web, it's good to make like internal tools. Like, I mean, it's not good, it's okay to make that. The problem with it is it runs like a rendering engine, right, on your browser,
it has its own
and not
kind of-
HTML and CSS. It runs in the canvas.
Yeah, ठीक है
So-
नोट लो क्या बात कर रहे हैं
ठीक है. Trying
Sorry,
to, so he said rendering
we need
engine,
this.
and I'm assuming that takes a lot of resources or something, man. I don't know. Is it cousin to this?
It does.
It does. I mean, yeah.
So if you run, so there is this test called the Lighthouse test Chrome पे, and if you run it on React now, you would have to mess up really spectacularly for that Lighthouse test to come below 90 React के case में, ठीक है?
Yeah.
Like you do something so bad that it comes down.
समझा.
Flutter का is just 5 on 100 even if you do everything right.
Oh.
That's how bad Flutter web is
Oh,
as of
yeah.
now. But okay, I trust Google कि वो improve करेंगे
Oh my
because
God.
the thing is, for Fuchsia, right, the next thing Android के बाद, for Fuchsia, Flutter is the main thing. So they have to fix everything with Flutter web because Fuchsia is the OS that will run on everything, like not just phones. It will run on cars, web, and everything. So I mean, Google has put a lot of its eggs in it. So I'm just assuming they don't abandon this like every other thing they've abandoned.
The main bottleneck for Flutter web is that it can't be like, it won't get your SEO thing going. So SEO works on your HTML and
HTML,
like stuff, right? So because once you Google something, Google will basically pull your website. Like that thing happens.
Indexing
Google has a
itself
database.
वैसे ही हो जाता है.
Indexing, yeah, how a search engine works, right? So the text on your Flutter web wouldn't be caught by Google because it's like running in a canvas, and canvas where you can't pull all of that. It's
So I think what happens is when you're making a web, I'm just putting it down.
Exactly.
Like,
Please do that. There's listeners like me.
So okay. So what React does is it creates the HTML document and then adds जो भी fancy stuff उसमें add करना है. But what Flutter does is it will just create a canvas. So canvas पे you can do anything. But canvas is just like a drawing. Basically. So Google can't go and read that properly. Humans can because it doesn't make a difference to them.
And
So
Google
that
can
is
read
one of the
HTML
problems.
because it's obviously text.
But नहीं,
Yeah.
Flutter web में they have given an option HTML renderer and canvas renderer का, because I made one project.
वो है क्या? I didn't know that. I didn't know.
I remember now because I remember changing the rendering engine. So okay, this is a crazy story that मैंने कभी बोला नहीं. So let's go here. So our college event, right? They had an event called Chocolate Day, and so they wanted. Gosh,
Going here, okay.
So they came to us कि hey, we have to make the entire experience online.
Yeah.
The thing is, the problem with Chocolate Day is, so Chocolate Day is an event where you send your friends chocolate. So we started e-commerce website here. So we started with WordPress. So we had our one engineer who knows WordPress and she was developing for it. But later we realized the problem. E-commerce website work in such a way that you add stuff to the cart and all of it is sent to the same address. But the problem with sending chocolates to a lot of people is the cart has different addresses जहाँ पे उसको जाना है. So we are like, shit, it is not normal e-commerce and this is not a normal use case. So we have to engineer something on our own now. So we are like, abhi kya kare? And we had 0 React developers, okay? And Flutter Web came out of beta 1 month ago. I remember this exactly. So we built a production stuff on Flutter Web and it was somehow stable. And the thing is, we use Razorpay as our payment partner, right? But the problem is Razorpay ka plugin is there on Flutter the community, but it's not there on web wala version. It is not supported on Flutter web. So what we did was we somehow ऐसा hacked together something where the Razorpay guys don't know कि ये React website है. So we use their plugin still, and
Dude.
so what Razorpay has their own payment वाला thing also. हाँ, so if you do it on web, now if you click on pay, it will take you to Razorpay का something.
Yeah.
So what we did was, हाँ, so they require you to make a JavaScript page, and then उसमें the pop-up comes up. So they will take their own script and ये सब. So the pop-up comes up. So what we did was, there was a way to run Flutter में JavaScript. So now we're going JavaScript to Dart to again JavaScript. Okay, this is a 3-layer process. I have no clue how this worked in production. Okay, and the problem was starting में everything was working. Okay, they were sending post messages to each other. But then Safari ka security came in, where Safari is like, you can't communicate cross tab. So we had to make a channel through Safari something. And this is happening सुबह. हाँ, okay. I have to deploy 2 days later, and आज Safari पे काम नहीं करा, because starting में Flutter web when you're developing, it will only run on Chrome. You have to build it completely, like compile it, and then you can run on Safari. And the thing is, हमने सब Chrome पे किया, and everything is working on Chrome. Chrome allows as a tab through communication. Like you can create a document and talk to it. Like document is basically another tab. But Safari wouldn't let you do that. तो हमें पता नहीं चला, पता है क्या? Because this girl was doing it on an iPhone, and she was trying to go through the payment here, and the payment succeeded, but इधर हमें दिखाई नहीं, like on the website. So it would launch a new tab, it would ask you for your details, तभी test mode पे था, you could put anything, and then it would show you page की, do you want the payment to fail or succeed? And then she clicked on succeed, and वो page बंद हो गया, but इधर कुछ नहीं दिखा. And तभी I went to some forum का some last comment was, अच्छा, by the way, Safari doesn't support this, and it was linking to the Mozilla का document where they show you what is supported. It's a table.
Holy
and I'm like, Apple, nahin yaar, not today, man. I love this company, but why? And so we engineered a new solution which we thought will work. So this is me doing it at 7 a.m. Okay, so 8 a.m. that we engineered a new solution where it would work through some post messages or something. And I'm like, ये तो चलना चाहिए. And then after doing the entire thing, मैं वापस Mozilla के इस पे क्या, I'm like, even this is not supported. And then finally कुछ third document reference और stuff, I don't remember.
Average
but
developer.
True.
9 a.m. ko it all worked, and I have no clue how that worked. Like, it was a very hacky solution, and if Razorpay found out, they would just be like, bro, this ain't it. But it saved the day. Like, we did 50K worth of transactions that day, and somehow it all worked. So
you need friends from Razorpay, I do.
What is
nice.
the Twitter handle?
Don't tell them this story. Don't tell them this story.
They are probably watching.
Razorpay का अलग issue. So we have our 2 email IDs banned from Razorpay because we forgot to install privacy policy and ये सब. And our site was locked ताकि college people don't land up there and start buying chocolates. So we locked the website for some time, and सब coming soon पे था. But Razorpay has 2 checks. Okay, one, Razorpay will check, which is a very lenient check, then just allow you. And we thought allow हो गया, तो we locked the site again कि allow हो गया. But there is this banking check also, okay? And the banking partners are not willing to do anything. So we had a specific thing for them, okay? So as soon as they landed on the page, but we specifically pointed it for them कि यहाँ privacy policy, यहाँ about us है, यहाँ return policy. They just wouldn't. And the thing is, we had like 2 weeks to make this entire e-commerce website, so we could not make it responsive. So it only ran on phone. If you open it on desktop, में वो दिखता था कि please open it on the phone. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Razorpay people figured it out कि phone पे open करना है. But the banking partners just couldn't get a phone. We just made it कि तुम window छोटा कर दोगे तो it will also work. But they just wouldn't listen to us, I guess. Then we had to get on call with Razorpay support and tell them this specifically. And finally it worked out, like in some way or form, like किसी और का account.
Holy hell.
But I'm gonna need Razorpay soon though. Send that Twitter.
We'll get them on the podcast. Razorpay. But yeah, man, Neil, it's finally happened. Thank you so much.
Honestly, I can say this on camera. This is the best podcast because I resonated with this guy so much. Like, I'm just gonna be in your Twitter DMs abhi pura time.
Nice.
And this is our first time interacting with Neil. I think except the comment section and a few tweets here and there. But
yes,
pretty cool. Now you're in the bell wala icon में press करो. कुछ तो cool आएगा.
Sure.
But yeah, hotel spaces यार 12 बजे से पहले है.
सो जाते हो क्या?
ये सो जाता है भाई,
I'm
देश शराब
हाँ, हाँ.
12 बजे से पहले सोता है, ये कैसे डेवलपर है भाई, 12 बजे से पहले सोता है.
Dude, I have made that I am not writing any piece of code after 8 p.m. because it just seems useless after that with
Yeah,
my
fair
time
enough.
schedule.
Fair enough.
Fair,
Uh-huh.
fair.
That's right.
But sure, I mean, even if it's 2 a.m., just tell me at 12 बजे मैं जाग रहा हूँ कुछ भी करते हैं. Honestly speaking, I would love
We
to.
just talk about travel, like I keep traveling and stuff, तो उसके बारे में बात होता है. And
Do you travel because
like-
of work? Ki just you like travel?
no, I call myself a digital nomad.
Nomad,
Uh-huh.
let's go. Currently Mumbai.
Oh, do you live in Mumbai or are you just staying
I
here for
live
some-
in
Uh,
I live here. This is home. But like I was in Kasol for 2 months. I was in Rishikesh for a month, and then Darjeeling and surrounding areas.
Doing research for
like,
Headout, guys.
Kalimpong and stuff.
Shit, don't worry. It's all.
No, I'm not. This is just myself.
Oh, that is so. How do you stay there for 1 month? Like that would get crazy expensive, right?
I mean, you find like properties which are like hostels and stuff, which
अच्छा.
like,
हाँ.
Hack कर लिया भाई नील ने travel, ठीक है.
हाँ.
best.
Dude, honestly, that guy is living my life. Pehले I was just joking. Now I'm actually jealous. Like,
Same.
okay,
Yeah,
imagine
he's living
staying
my
at a
life
new
with the
house
traveling
every
part.
month. हाँ.
Yes.
So yeah,
Curated experiences in Kasol soon, guys. Don't worry.
I have something written. I might
Let's
put that
go.
on.
See?
Go ahead, we'll promo it.
Secret. If you wanna get onto more Razor Pig gossip and head out secrets and Kasol curated experiences, you should definitely subscribe to the podcast and follow Neil Agarwal on Twitter specifically, also Instagram for his travel shenanigans, but mostly Twitter because it's fun on Twitter. It's more fun on Twitter. You can follow the Unengineers podcast and you can follow Advait, me on Instagram. All the links are in the description.
Everything will be linked. Now everything app also.
Everything app also. Nice plug. Good job. And thank you so much for watching and we appreciate your time. And we'll meet you hopefully next week if the next guest does not postpone for 1 month and we also don't postpone for 1 month. Yeah, man. It was a mutual thing. We were all
Honestly, this was worth it. Like, this is the best podcast I've had. I have resonated with him as a.
I'm glad of that. It was worth your time. Hopefully the next one, I am a little less clueless in the next one, but it was fun regardless.
You're giving hints, can next one.
Yeah, nah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Neil, for doing this, for
Thanks,
taking
man.
out
Dude,
some
भाई ये
1 hour
हमारे
of your time.
इतने हमारे नखरे चले नील ने, my god.
Ha, dude, thank you so much for tolerating us.
Chalega, it worked out.
I'm glad.
It worked out.
Okay.
Chalo. We'll see you
But,
next week,
yeah.
guys. On another episode of the Unengineers podcast with another guest. And until then, don't forget to get
Get
on.
on your Bye bye.
That's kind of our tagline.